It's just the greatest movie ever.
It's a good movie.
At Augusta, he's on his
I
final
just like
hole.
how you put this together.
He's about 455 yards away. He's going to hit about a
311?
200 from 455. I got that.
Look at it. The left
It's in the bag. It's gonna be great. I love it. Awesome.
Noonan. All right. We are here. This is the first episode of the Chasing Daylight podcast. My name is Matthew Wainwright. I'm here with my co-host Ryan Hardenbrook. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good, dude.
Pretty chill. We're starting this podcast.
Why are we starting this podcast?
Because it's needed. It's needed. The blog does a lot of really good things. This is not something to replace the blog. This is something to enhance the blog. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do it. Actually, I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and thankfully, you have pushed me to the point where, we're getting it done. We're here. We're recording.
Gosh, we're recording live right now?
It's exciting.
There's things I can't say then, huh?
Well, you can say whatever you want.
Well, I mean, I don't want to put the big E there next to it. We don't want it to be explicit.
Explicit
content.
content.
Is it explicit if I say the word explicit? That could be awkward.
This contains explicit content.
Explicitly awesome. That's what it contains. No, seriously, I think it's really exciting. I'm pumped about this blog, or about the blog, but I'm also pumped about the podcast. Maybe more so. I mean, we've talked about doing this for a while. I've obviously wanted to do this for quite some time as well. Didn't quite know what I wanted to podcast about for forever, and I didn't think that I had the guts to do it. Even though I like the sound of my own voice.
You love listening to yourself
I
talk?
have no shame in saying that. Like, look, I mean, just know who you are, right? Like, know who you are and be proud of it. But no, seriously, I think that it's really exciting. I think that it's nice to have another medium for folks to access the content, but also for our the vendors and the creators and the craftsmen and everybody who may not have time to get together for a written blog or a interview. This is another way for them to participate and maybe be a little more active.
Yeah, we noticed when we were at the PGA show, there was a lot of podcast presence.
Yeah.
A lot of people doing audio recordings, a lot of people doing sit-down interviews, and we don't want to miss out on that. We feel that we bring a lot of really good content to the blog, and we have a lot of great articles, a lot of great reviews. There's more out there, though, and we don't want to be limited to that, so the idea behind the podcast was to explore that avenue and reach out to some people that maybe don't want to do an in-depth review, but they got 20 minutes to chat with us on the phone.
Yeah, and let me be clear, we're not just going to talk about that stuff. I mean, because this is also mostly, if not more so, about things that we think are interesting going on inside the sport and inside the game and our games and, even stuff outside of the game. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all just a bunch of hacks trying to do our best to have an enjoyable time on the weekends and pursue a hobby that could be a sport, but whatever it might be for us.
I've got a great idea to talk about what it's like going through ankle surgery.
Oh God, nobody wants to hear that.
Right as the golf season's about to start.
Nobody wants to hear it. It's a dark road. I don't want to go down that road.
Nasty.
But it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be really cool to be able to dive into a variety of topics. And I think it's even also gonna be cool to get to know each other and whatever guests we have on the podcast as well. So
we've got some good ones lined up.
Yeah.
There's going to be some great people that a lot of people know, but are going to get to know a little bit better.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But what happened is
I have to say this.
Okay.
Much like Wilson Staff Golf, the breakfast ball's been successful for quite some time, and we don't deviate much from greatness. Hashtag Clayton comments.
Clayton comments.
That's a new thing.
You guys are going to really enjoy when we get Clayton on here.
He's a good guy. All right, so what are we talking about?
Well, we're going to talk about the obvious thing. I know, me personally, I'm never going to kiss my wife before I go play a round of golf again because, look what happened.
So you're saying when you don't kiss your wife, you win? I feel like he didn't kiss her and he almost lost.
Ooh, that is a good take.
It's a hot take, but it's the real take. I think that and for the record, she's not his wife, so let's just point that out.
Well, I can't say my girlfriend.
Yeah, that you can't. That's right. So my girlfriend, who happens to be my wife, and I love her greatly. But I think it I think he got so focused on it. You know, I watched the interview afterwards, and I know we're going to talk more about Koepka in a minute. We're going to start with PGA, but I do think it's interesting. He almost couldn't explain the 4-hole mental gap, you know, and he's like, I don't know what happened. I didn't feel like I was doing anything different. My body language was good, you know, and he had his mindset, you know, right. But I don't think he started the same way he started the last 3 days.
No.
And I think that's the key. Tiger talked about it all the time. He has a routine because he wants to do the same thing no matter what. You know, and there's a lot of successful athletes that do that. And you know, it's sometimes you win when you lose because you learn things that you didn't know before and you learn how to win. But also, sometimes you learn like this.
Speaking of losing,
Oh God.
you lost the picks.
God, I knew that was coming. Sandbagger, waiting until we get on the recording to do that.
JT and Ryan both picked
we picked the greatest golfer of all time.
the greatest golfer of all time. Which, don't get me wrong, I would have been
for the record,
flipping
the
out of
greatest
my
golfer of all
chair.
time that I picked last time to win, and everyone told me I was crazy, and I'm gonna just eat out on that for a year.
That, you know, for the Masters, my pick was DJ, just because I thought he had something to prove.
At least
there.
you're consistent.
And he finished runner-up.
You picked DJ. Who are you gonna pick next time?
And I picked DJ
You can pick
for
the
this.
This one's over. Who are you gonna pick for the Open?
I'm gonna roll the dice and probably go with DJ again.
How is that rolling the dice? You picked him twice in a row.
I know,
Only
I'm
3 times
rolling-
in a row. That's not rolling the dice.
Okay, not rolling the dice. I'm gonna stick with the dice I've rolled.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna
And-
just live with
And
with
I
misery.
think I'm gonna pick him until he wins another one because it's so
Yeah.
close for him. It's so close for
he's
him.
not that close.
Yeah,
He's not that close.
he should have more.
He was
majors.
2 shots, and it took Koepka falling apart. But let's talk about the PGA Championship. So I want to start with this. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Okay. So the move to May.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Totally agree.
The moving the playoffs up to not compete with the NFL, I think, is a great move. Having the tournaments now set up to where every month there is a major golf tournament, even though the Players is not a major. Everybody calls it the 5th major, and it is a major
But
golf tournament.
let's talk about that because the PGA Championship move to May forced the Players to go back to what it originally was. And I will tell you, the Players Championship was so much more enjoyable on a course when the wind is out, where it's designed for that. I mean, Pete Dye doesn't make courses for still
And it
water.
was lush.
Yeah, it was great.
It was beautiful.
It
on
made
television.
me enjoy the Players Championship. And I haven't watched it much at Sawgrass up until this year.
It's been a really good golf season so far. I've enjoyed all the all the turn. Well, I don't know. I didn't watch the Louisiana.
Yeah, I didn't watch Louisiana, and I've been to it, and I'll tell you, it's pretty epic down there. If you're out in New Orleans and you ever have a chance to be down there for that championship, when I was there on the flight back, Ricky Fowler was on the flight back, and he was wearing a
Orange?
No. He had missed the cut, but he was wearing a Rolex Daytona Cosmograph Platinum with the baby blue dial. I'll never forget it. It was just glorious.
Ryan's
And I was
watch
there
hard.
for a jewelry convention as well. So I mean, Rick Beckett was there. You know, he was on the Instagram Live earlier. But I'll never forget. It was such a great tournament, very fun to be at. But what I will say to your point earlier, this year's tournaments, there's something special for me about because of the way they moved them this year. I was so much more excited to start the season than I normally am, and I love starting in Hawaii. I think it's great because we all wish we could be there, you know, and we're
Capitalism
usually
amazing.
in miserable weather. I mean, we're never really that miserable weather, but it's still pretty miserable for our. And then you go from there, you enjoy that. Then you get to go out to Torrey Pines. Then you get to enjoy that. Then you get to go over to the Waste Management, aka Wasted. Shout out to Grinding Golf, and the Wasted Championship.
Pebble.
Then you get to enjoy the Pebble Beach with the which is always so fun. Our Caddy Shack, great friend. Bill Murray, they're out there. That's kind of his tournament, really, more than anybody's. But I mean, I think that the way that they laid it out this year, this is how the golf season should go every year. And I will say, I probably outside of the Masters, God, can I say? I don't know if I could say this, but I think I will. I don't know. I think the Open Championship might be my favorite major.
Ooh.
And that's tough because I think the Masters,
It's the Masters for me.
The Masters became my favorite major.
I get geeked
for a
up for the
period of time.
Masters, and I get geeked up for the U.S. Open.
But we got married July 21st, and the reason we got married July 21st, we were deciding if we were going to do it before or after the Open Championship, and my wife said let's do it during it because then you'll never forget our anniversary.
Oh.
right? And so the crazy thing is, on our anniversary night, every year I stay up all night, and she stays up with me to watch the first round of the Open Championship. It's phenomenal.
That's kinda cool.
right? And so I look at it now and I go, man, what a cool thing it's become part of my life. But also, what a way to finish a season. Where golf should be to finish a season.
One thing too that I think is going to benefit the American players for the Ryder Cup is now you don't have golf tournament, end of the season, playoffs. Then we go hop right on a plane and go overseas. Well, I mean, this next one will be in the States, but there's going to be a little bit of a break for these guys to
There is
rest,
a seasonal break.
recharge a little bit, and get ready for.
And it's not just during Christmas. And I like that. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So that's going to be a nice break.
So PGA Championship. So that was the first. So first question was timing. I think my next question for you is, did you feel like it was? I mean, so I guess everything kind of got turned upside down when Koepka just tore it up, but I think Eddie Pepperell, his Instagram is phenomenal, and his tweets are even better. And when he posted on the second day, finally get to go home, like it's a race to go home after missing the cut. And he posted a picture of a glass of red wine. And he's like, the only red I shot, or the only red I saw. Only red I saw during this.
Finally saw some red.
To me, I think this might have been the toughest setup PGA Championship I've seen in years. And I'll say that because I've always felt like the PGA Championship was a waste of my time to watch because it was so easy.
Well, it was in the peak of summer. The courses were dry. It wasn't exciting. It was almost like a tournament that was out there, and now it has some meaning behind it because it's a big major between two huge majors. It brought some life kind of into a lull that's not there anymore. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it was extremely enjoyable. I loved the lead up to it. I think FootJoy did a phenomenal job of getting people excited for this and making them realize where it was and how special it was to be at Bethpage Black. I loved the pregame that they did with the last day that the guys could play in the public, and they showed up and everybody came out for it. I know Ashley Mayo and Scrum Chulesson. I actually don't know his real name, her husband's real name.
I don't either.
I just know him as Scrum Chulesson because that's what his Instagram is, and he is scrumptious. I'm just saying, hashtag
TMI.
I'm just saying, dude. Like, hey, I'm a guy who's got a beautiful wife and I'm happily married, but I can respect another guy's greatness.
That's why he's sitting here with me.
That's right. Well played. I'd cheers you, but you don't have anything to drink.
No.
Anyway, so
But one of the things that I want to talk about is
Yep.
one of my favorite highlights of the week for the tournament actually didn't take place on the golf course. It took place in the press room when Koepka talked about the players in the field and his advantage, where he broke it down. Half the field's not going to play well. Out of those people that are left, half of them are going to be nervous. Out of the remainder of those, I'm going to beat. And so he had just a few players that he had to worry himself with. And the guys on the Golf Channel broke it down where the etiquette in the game is you're proud and you're confident, but you don't express that. And Koepka came out and said what pretty much all those guys think.
So here's the.
And I loved it.
Well, I loved it too, but here's the question that I would ask. So, why did you love it?
Because it was raw. It was honest. It was him saying, there's not too many people that are going to beat me this week. And I know that.
So is that why you loved it, or do you like it for the same reason that you like it when Tom Brady talks about the fact that the only people that can kill the Patriots are themselves? It's.
I liked it because we haven't seen it from a player. Everybody knows that Tiger thinks it, and everybody knows because Tiger tells everybody, hey, nobody can beat me. I don't go into a tournament thinking, oh, if I finish 10th, it's okay. I go into a tournament because I know I can win it.
Well, but I guess my point is that there's, for me, it was the first time that I've seen, even with Tiger, it was the first time I've seen an athlete come out and be an athlete. He's not a golfer, and he's made that abundantly clear. He could have done any sport. And he chose golf because he felt like it gave him the best opportunity to compete at the highest level. and that's why he became a golfer. And to me, that means he's an athlete.
Yeah.
It just so happens that his sport is golf.
Is golf.
You know, and I think for us watching and enjoying this game, I think that's part of it. Now, I'll say this: there are people that, rightfully so, are going to be frustrated by that because that's not the game they're in love with. Think about it, but it's true.
No, it absolutely is true.
And they have a right to it because he's I love the Steph Curry ruin the game. He could do that, and really Tiger did it because he was the first real modern athlete, and that's not a dig on Phil Mickelson, who's a tremendous athlete, and but he's the first guy who you looked at and you went, wow, he should be playing another sport.
Yeah,
like he's doing things so differently.
Yeah, DJ gets a lot
with
of that
raw
too.
speed. Yeah, well, DJ Gary Woodland. I mean, Gary Woodland, college basketball player. DJ, college basketball player. I mean, these guys are athletes. Yeah, but they were athletes who they were golfers who happened to be athletes. This is the opposite. This is a guy who crafted himself as an athlete and then just chose golf. And I think that, to me, is pretty incredible. And I think we're going to see a variety of people come out of the woodwork now.
So is he going to stay hot?
In majors, yeah, because he's right. He's right about that.
So will other players take on that mindset?
Well, no, they can't. There's okay. So this is where I'm gonna draw a very strong, definitive line here, a very definitive line in what he said. He didn't say this is just how I approach it. He said these are the facts, and he's right.
Absolutely. There
are 10 guys that are going to compete for majors every time. Now, there's going to be the occasional guy that shows up out of the woodwork. Danny Willett. First year Louis Oosthuizen won it. I thought it was a fluke. And then he won 2 more. It's not a fluke. But the same 10 guys, depending on the course, Louis Oosthuizen, he's going to be in it for the Open Championship every year. Yeah. Why? Because his game's built for the Open Championship every year. He's going to be in it for the Masters every year. Why? Because his game's built for the Masters every year. I mean, some of these guys, it's like the reason Freddie Couples is so good at Augusta usually, and this year was an anomaly, but traditionally he's been a guy you can count on the top 10 every single year. Horses for courses to a certain extent, but more importantly, Koepka's not wrong. As a matter of fact, list them. Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson,
Adam Scott, Jason Day when he's just
Jason
been so
Day.
erratic.
He's been tough, but he's somebody you're going to worry about. And then I mean a couple of the guys overseas in Europe.
Justin Thomas, Jordan
Spieth. Yeah, I mean you think of it, there's 10 guys.
Do we throw Bryson in that mix?
Not yet.
Too soon.
Win a major. And then you can be in the mix. But seriously, these are the guys, and I think that's the people don't like it.
I love it.
Well, but I'm just saying, I think golf fans don't like it because it's people. I think we think they don't like it because it's brash. They don't like it because it's true. That's why they don't like it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do think it's interesting that he took a strokes gained approach to his own.
Yeah, I know you wanted to touch on that.
To his own handicapping.
Yeah. If you guys aren't aware, Ryan is an incredible golf nerd. It's one of the reasons our relationship has flourished the way it has because there's not too many people. Neil from Strokes Gained is one of them, and Ryan,
Fitting.
where I can just
fitting Strokes Gained.
Yeah, Strokes. It fits. Shout out Strokes Gained, where I can just at odd times of the day pick up the phone, call, and talk golf, just 'cause.
Yeah.
So his nerdiness is at a level that I have not met from anybody else. And so with that comes some incredible golf knowledge, and he's a whiz at this stuff.
I wish I had prepared and I had the actual stats, but you really don't need them because it's obvious. So he did an interview. So what we're going to talk about right now is approach, right?
And how Koepka approached the course.
Well, approach is all courses. He's going to take his advantage. What's his advantage? His advantage is that he can consistently hit it at a distance, and he can consistently hit it within a fair amount of accuracy and a consistent trajectory in any conditions, that distance, right? His advantage is that, yes, his advantage is that he's long, but he's actually not as long as some of the other guys on tour.
No.
Cameron Champ's the longest by far.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? He's nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found.
And he's nowhere to be found because he gets in his own way with his iron shots. He gets in his own way with his putting. What I saw somebody, who I would love to give them credit for this, and somebody said it on Instagram, and I don't remember who it was. But of all the long ball hitters, Koepka putts the best. Koepka chips the best. Koepka hits iron shots the best. Of the crazy long guys, he just does everything
better.
Not better than anybody on tour, but
no, there's guys that are better than stats. But
here's what
he's
I
a
want
bomber.
Say. They asked him. So they interviewed him in the interview room after he won. They I think 3 different or 4 different reporters asked him the same question. Why didn't you take iron off the tee on 18? Like, why wouldn't you take iron? And one of them finally, they kind of alluded to it. One of them finally just came out and said, like, what was your approach at 18? Why didn't you hit iron when you knew you just needed to make par? And he said it wasn't even a thought.
It's not
literally, it didn't even come into my mind because it's not my advantage. My advantage is to hit it long. And if I hit it long and I'm in the bunker, I'm on the green too. If I hit it long and I'm in the rough, I'm gonna chunk out, get my approach shot on, and have a chance at par. Worst case bogey. Like, it didn't even cross my mind to not use the advantage that I have, which is distance off the tee. And I think
advantage for somebody that's accurate.
Well, and so here's why I wanted to bring it up. Yes, it's strokes gained methodology and the mentality around where do I gain strokes, but that's the piece. Brooks Koepka gained strokes on the field by hitting it far and doing everything else pretty good. Where Koepka loses in his regular tournaments, and they asked him about the regular tournaments after, he has a different level of focus. The majors captivate his attention, right? Because they're the majors. But when he's in regular events, why isn't he winning every week? And they asked him, well, why? And he said, well, I've had 9 second place finishes this year. So it's not like I'm not trying.
It's not like I'm not out there slinging it.
But the reality is in a lot of those tournaments, he's not always using his advantage. Sometimes he throttles back. Sometimes he tries to play the course with management instead of force.
So who do you think is the controlling factor in that? Do you think it's him just saying, I'm not?
I think it's him, and I think it's how he visualizes the course. And what needs to take place for him to win more often is that he needs to take his advantage to every course.
Yeah, I mean, look at what Bethpage is not. It's not an easy golf course. Everybody knows
Bethpage isn't the course that you go out and you just hit bombs.
Yeah.
Bethpage is the course that you put it in the right spot.
Yes.
And everybody else that put it in the right spot lost by a lot.
I mean, there was some guys that were playing some outstanding golf, and on Sunday they were 2 under.
Yeah.
And
so I wanted to bring this up because this is the thing. So since the beginning of this year, I've totally changed my philosophy, and I have to give credit to Mark Crossfield and his Serious Golf series that he's been doing on his YouTube channel, and his focus on strokes gained, and his trying to help coach regular golfers to understand how to leverage their advantage, right?
Right.
But here's something that I'll ask you. We played, when did we play? Yesterday?
Yes.
Was it yesterday?
Yesterday.
God, it feels like it was like a week ago.
Yeah, my leg still feels it.
So yesterday, I think I said it to you yesterday. Why am I not hitting driver on every hole? There's very few reasons why. Maybe the only exceptions would be into wind or downwind, and the wind has to be strong enough. Now, yesterday there were a couple of holes that it was strong enough.
Yeah,
it didn't make sense to use my advantage.
See, you talked about this when we played, when I first came back from the injury. You were talking about, so we were playing out at Revere, and at Revere there's some holes where the smart play is to hit a fairway wood or an iron off the tee. And you said to me, I don't remember who we were conversing with that brought it up, but you said, if I'm not going to be in major trouble, why am I not hitting it down there?
Yeah. Well, and Clayton and I talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
Talked about that a lot. The first time he came, the second time he came, he and I talked about it. He was like, why would you not hit driver?
Yeah, why would you not hit it? And so the last couple rounds that I've played out at Prim with Reed, on the 16th hole. It's a short hole, and I've always, every time I've played it, I've always taken either a long iron or fairway wood off the tee. And the other day I said, I'm not going to get in any trouble because I don't pull my tee shots. I fade my tee shots. And so I lined up on the left side. For anybody that's listening, the 16th hole at Prim Lakes, there's water on the left, down about the landing zone with the driver. And I just stepped up there and hit my shot, and I had a short wedge in. And that was a difference for me, having 110 in versus having 160 in to a tough green. And it was me taking advantage of
where your advantage, where your gains are,
where my gain was.
And so here's one thing.
There's no advantage for me, even though it's a safe play and it's a fairway.
Right.
I'm not getting anything by doing that versus going for it.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. So there's two thoughts to this. One, people misunderstand strokes gained for I should always go for it. That's not what strokes gained is about. Strokes gained is about taking advantage of the gains that you have in your game and leveraging those to gain strokes against your competitors, right? So first of all, that's really what it is. But with that said, I'm going to use this is a great excuse to talk about Pebble Beach, and I love talking about Pebble Beach. So
JT's
I had the
dying right
wonderful
now.
pleasure of getting to play Pebble Beach a year ago almost in June, and we played from the U.S. Open tees. And this is actually the most relevant example I can give for what I'm talking about. I played with two other guys, both good golfers, Tim and Jason. And we got to the 18th hole. Obviously, so bear in mind, we're playing the U.S. Open tee, the tee pegs that they have back there. So they have these little plaques, and it's far, right? So the course isn't tremendously long even from the U.S. Open tees, but on 18, it's longer because you have the water up the left. It's one of the most famous holes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Everybody can envision it. Water up the left, you get this beautiful crashing waves, right? But on the right, what most people fail to see because there's somebody's looking at the water.
The tree.
Well, no, on the right, where you're aiming, where most people aim their tee shots because they want to be safe and they don't want to be in the water, is fescue all along the side. And so I went third. The two guys in front of me both don't hit it quite as far, but Tim does, but he wasn't hitting it great that day. And so both of them took the easy way, right? And so they said, their caddy, Scotty, great guy, did the good caddy move and said, hey, let's just make sure you're on dry land. Let's try and get you in the fairway, right? Worst case, you'll run through if you crush it. Well, both of them crushed it. You're on the 18th hole of Pebble. Like, what are you going to do? Top it? So, they stepped up. Both of them hit great drives, arguably two of the best drives they both hit all day. Well, guess what? They're both in the fescue.
In the fescue.
Okay? I took the advantage that I had in the game that I have, which I know I can cut it. I don't know that I can, that I can necessarily hit a certain distance all the time, but I know about what my carry is. I literally aimed over the water and I just was like, you know what? If I just hit a big cut and make sure it doesn't go left, I'll do everything in my power to open the face, make sure I don't hit it left. If I hit a big cut, I'll be on dry land as long as I started over the water. But if I started on land, I'm going to be either in the bunker on the right or in the fescue with them, right? So I started over the water, piped it, right? Cut over. I was 10 yards right of the edge of the cliff. It had a completely clear shot for my 3-wood in, right? Pipe my 3-wood down there just in front of the green, chip on, miss my birdie putt because life sucks, but made par in 18.
You didn't have to tell us about that part.
Right. But the point is I took the advantage, and the advantage for me was don't be in the fescue because the worst thing that could have happened is I block it, but so what? I drop from there.
Yeah.
Or I hit another one and I'm back up near the middle. If they get in the fescue, they'll be lucky to get out
Or find the ball.
So it's sometimes course management is your advantage, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes knowing your own game well enough to know that like you said, I don't pull it. I'm not going to hit it left. So why wouldn't I just hit driver?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I learned playing Royal Links a couple years ago. Ray, we miss you, Ray. You need to come back to Vegas. Playing there a lot. It took me about 4 rounds before I realized, okay, there is a certain way to play this golf course. Even though it's a replica golf course and the holes are, a little bit different. Doesn't have a great flow to it, but it's so much fun. But there's holes out there that no matter what my my gain is, you have to play this shot if you want to score. You cannot do certain things off the tee out there, and it took me a while to learn that. But once I got it down,
That's right.
I play so much better out there now.
Yeah. So there's one last thing I know we have to wrap up
Yep, we gotta
here,
wrap
but
it
there's one last thing I want to talk about, and when it comes to Koepka and the PGA, how, as gearheads, right? How important is it to stay with what you know? I mean, this is a guy who hasn't changed his clubs. I mean, he's literally
Stuck with it.
And you know why? Because it works.
It works. Doesn't
And
matter the dollars.
Jonathan Wall had a phenomenal article on it, talking about, how much is his club endorsement deal worth? Technically zero, but how much is it really worth? Well, it's worth all his winnings.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth all his endorsements off the course.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth all the things that come with winning, all the money that comes with winning.
Playing
And
what he
how
wants.
much better is that than the extra $4 million you make when you're making? We're talking about $26 million in career earnings, right? Of the $26 million, $20 million since he won his first major. How do you think it's working for him?
I think it's working great.
Right, and so
I think everybody else thinks it's working great
well,
too.
so that's the thing. As I look at this and I go, man, so people don't realize this about Tiger because they see him changing, to TaylorMade. But bear in mind, Mike Taylor's the guy that's worked in his clubs since the beginning, outside of Larry Bobka, and who did his first set of irons at Titleist. But since he's been with Nike, he's had the same guy making his clubs. And guess what? He hasn't changed his lofts. Why? Because he would have to learn golf all over again.
Yep.
Like, when you get with stuff that works, stop screwing around. Like,
You need to tell yourself that.
I don't. But I'm a horrible listener of my own words. But I'll tell you right now, I mean, like, to me, it's the importance of fitting. It's the importance, especially at the PGA level, is what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, if these, like, imagine if Rory hadn't changed club manufacturers twice.
Yeah.
I would be willing to argue he'd have at least 2 more majors.
Yeah, that was a big
Twice.
stumble for him.
It stumbled him twice.
Yeah.
And I go, what was he thinking? So
Oh, look at Justin Rose. I mean, he did win at Torrey.
he won at Torrey, but
And-
it's a big change, man.
Yeah, it's a very big change.
I mean, a lot of these guys, I don't get why
Speaking of change, I touched on this on my Instagram the other
Uh-huh.
day. No, I don't think I did touch on it. I think I was conversing with Todd
Okay.
about it. But Adam Scott ditching the
ditching the
Direct force
direct
putter?
force. Yeah.
and going back to his.
I'm not going to talk. So it just so happens that a friend of mine, Sam, is the CEO.
And Todd was telling me.
Yeah, is the CEO of Direct Force. And I'll tell you, I've shout out to Golf Headquarters in Reno. I've used it and tested the Direct Force putter up there on their little practice screen in the back, which isn't much of a practice screen. It's indoors, but I do believe that the methodology makes sense. But so much of putting is visualization. And if you can't see the ball going in the hole from your putter, from the putter face along the line to the hole, if you can't visualize that because you're so offended by what the putter looks like, then it's
You've got
really
problems.
hard. It's really hard to do that. And this is a guy who's searching for everything. I love that he's with the broomstick. He should be. It's what makes sense to him.
It's what works for him.
And I don't think, I will say this, I'm willing to put $5 down that Adam Scott never wins another major.
Well, that's a big wager.
It's not a big
Man.
Okay, so $10.
Oh, there we go. Okay, you heard it here.
You want to take the bet?
The Adam Scott. I don't
Will
think
never win
I don't
another-
think he's ever going to win another major.
See, so it's not that big of a bet.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
But I don't think he'll ever win another major. And
Okay.
I don't think it has anything to do with his putting.
So speaking of putters, I just want to give a real quick shout out.
Yep.
Today, we're recording this on Monday,
The 20th.
the 20th of May. We'll find out. You'll find out when this actually gets put up on the website. But today I posted my review of the Olsen putter. Everybody needs to go check that out. Logan Olsen is this young kid that is just doing incredible work. It was really fun getting to know him. So make sure you check that out. And then also I want to give a quick shout out to a new brand that we just started working with called Subtle Patriot. It's a really unique brand. You've seen some of the pictures that I've posted, and I've talked a little bit about them. But everybody needs to go check out Subtle Patriot. They're making some really great products. Get a picture of the bag right there. That's the backpack, and it is absolutely outstanding.
What else you got in there? I'd like to thank our sponsors.
We're searching for sponsors.
No, Wilson Staff.
Well, yeah, Wilson is a sponsor of the blog.
Sponsor is probably the wrong word. Supporter. It's no sponsor. I mean,
They're
they
a
sponsor.
sponsor,
They
yeah.
sponsor our golf balls for pictures and when we get to go out and play and all that kind of jazz.
They've been really good to us. I'm really happy. The golf ball has been amazing.
I'm testing the Wilson Staff blades right now. They're really good.
They're really good.
They're
I want to
long.
be able to hit them.
I haven't been able to figure out, and I've checked the lofts. They're not funky, but they go far. I mean, 181 7-iron. My pitching wedge is a solid 145, 148.
You were crushing them.
I mean, I play them. They go far.
Greg even hit him and was like, wow.
Yeah, Greg was surprised. I mean, I love I'm excited to put the new shafts in my Corey Pauls. I feel like he's a sponsor as well because that guy's been with me from the beginning of my golf stuff. So.
And if you guys haven't seen
If you haven't seen
Ryan's,
Corey Paul stuff, it's
Ryan's
sweet.
irons that he got from Corey Paul, wow.
Yeah, they're
They are
phenomenal.
just ridiculous.
Ma the meatloaf.
Ma!
The meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
Don't say the last word because I don't want it to be explicit. So anyway,
Also, hey, real quick, want to shout out to UST Mamiya. They've been providing JT and I shafts. Actually, Laura just got on board with them too. She got the helium shaft for her new Cobra driver.
it's my wife. She's like, "What's going on? What are you guys doing? You got two things going on at the same time?"
So I want to thank them for helping support us and showcasing our stuff that we've been putting out there.
And I want to thank PXG because those guys built a driver that is special. And if you haven't used that driver, let me just tell you, you're gonna get a dose of vertical CG information that you've never thought possible when I get that review out.
We're gonna have to get Peter
But-
up here too.
Yeah, we gotta get Peter on here. But
Haven't talked about
and
it.
for the record, I paid. Some of the stuff that we've been able to gain access to is through partnerships, and with PXG, it was just because I hit it so well, I had to own it, and so
That was one of those where you went.
One of those I have to do, and-
This is too good.
yeah, and I've been blessed because for me, I've been able to be financially able to get some of the stuff, but man, PXG is the drivers. I'm so impressed with it. Todd's got one coming. We'll see if his opinions reflect that of my own. But JT, what's up? Dude, you're gonna love this. I give a shout out to Pebble on this podcast that we're still on.
It didn't take. I think we were 15 minutes
no,
into
we were
it.
20 minutes.
Okay, 20 minutes
Solid
into it.
20 minutes. Solid.
And so
20
that time I was playing Pebble.
Don't wake my daughter up. I'll kill you. All right. So anyway, what a great time. I'm excited about where this is going.
This is fun. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to having some guests on. We're actually going to be in Mesquite in
A
a
week.
week and a half. Not this coming up weekend, but the following weekend for Golf Tank is having
Have
something.
a podcast with him.
So we're going to sit down and interview him. He's doing some really cool stuff. He's a really
And I'm hoping we can
ambitious guy. That's
I'm hoping we can sneak Clayton in for a podcast when he's here visiting accounts. I think
Oh,
he's
yeah,
here in a
that's-
week or something like
yeah,
that.
he'll be next week.
He'll be out here. Man, am I excited for the new Roger Dunn? I mean, aren't you? I mean, I like Las Vegas golf.
Have they announced it yet? Or we?
No, they've announced it.
They've announced
it. Yeah, so I'm not.
Yeah,
spilling
Las
any
Vegas golf and
beans.
tennis is going bye bye.
But no, it's good. No, it's not going bye bye. It's getting evolved.
Oh, it's evolving.
It's evolving. So anyway,
Okay, go buy the shirts.
yeah,
Go buy
yeah,
the shirts.
it's shameless
still
plug.
there.
We're still on the podcast, bro.
I know.
All right, so now that you're done with hearing our rantings and musings, I will save a couple rants for down the road.
Oh, you had a good one yesterday.
I had a good one on my golf spy the other day. I don't want to get into it because it just makes me mad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll tell them, lock it up. But either way, this is exciting. I'm excited about the podcast. I'm excited to have some cool guests on. I'm excited to do it with you, dude. It's a lot of fun.
This has been fun.
Yeah. Next time you get a drink, so I'm not the only one drinking.
Yeah. Well, it's finals week, and I got to go home and help my daughter study. So.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right. Well, let's do our goodbyes then on this podcast thing.
Ryan's still doing live videos.
Don't hate.
Okay, so this has been Matt and Ryan on the Chasing Daylight podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. We look forward to bringing you a lot more content. And if you guys
If you have ideas,
If you have
or people that you want to connect us with because you want us to be able to expose them, let us know. We're happy to do it.
Oh, hey, real quick too. I want to give a shout out to the Aloha Press. They just did a podcast with Laura, our new writer. Those guys, you want to talk about passionate golfers that just love the game. They are the real deal. They're a great bunch of guys. I had a really good conversation with JC the other day. We're gonna kind of do a collaboration podcast with all of us talking, and we're looking forward to that. But check out those guys.
If you have recommendations or people that you want to connect us with to do future podcasts or reviews or anything like that, or you want to get in touch with us, it is Matt. Go ahead and spell yours out.
the blog Instagrams, it's Matt at matt.thebreakfastball, ryan.thebreakfastball, laura.thebreakfastball, jt.bbgolfblog.
But feel free to reach out to us on email. I'm ryan@thebreakfastball.com.
Matt@thebreakfastball.com or Matthew@thebreakfastball.com.
See, that's why I wanted you to spell it out.
MATHEW.
One T.
One T in Matthew. Two T's in Matt.
Such a weirdo.
Laura's is Laura@thebreakfastball, and JT is JT@thebreakfastball.com.
Hit us up and let us know who we should talk to next. Aside from that, dude, great night.
Make sure you subscribe on the website to this. Chasing Daylight Podcast is the Instagram account. We'll be posting stuff there.
Doing some giveaways hopefully soon.
We got some great vendors that we're going to be working with on this. But give it a follow, give it a like, give it a share, tell your friends. And we look forward to the next episode. Thanks, everybody.
Chase some daylight.